within the spacious expanse of the immaculate, luminous nature of mind. You appear like the mandala of the sun to conquer the darkness of cyclic existence. Remembering how you inseparably dwell with us always, I bow to you, Guru of awareness and emptiness, who cuts through the experience of cyclic existence once and for all. The incomparable great teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, was a master of skillful means, endowed with great compassion. His followers overflowed with the inner experience of the nature of the Dharma. The scriptures and realizations of the teachings were taught and passed on like one butter lamp flame igniting the next, and the teachings came to dwell like pure, refined gold. Across this world, most of the famous wise masters, siddhas, and composers reached the end of their studies and the fruition of their trainings. They worked hard creating compositions, like a forest of diverse young plants in the summertime, to become the good fortune of those in future generations. These sublime individuals overflowed with self-arisen primordial wisdom from within. For some of them, their opportunities to train in this life may have been slight. Nevertheless, due to their spontaneous knowledge, self-arisen faith, and the blessings of their gurus, there was nothing they did not know or understand. I will now elucidate the life story of one of these sublime masters. Here is the story of the Supreme Drikung Lamchen Gyalpo Rinpoche. From the time that he was young, he needed to take the great burden of both Dharma activities and secular activities upon his shoulders. Then, before long, due to the changing times in Tibet, he traveled to a faraway distant land and became a refugee. There, he needed to take on various responsibilities, like becoming a community leader and so forth. The opportunity for him to solely pursue education did not arise. However, from the time that he was young, he was bright with spontaneous understanding and intelligence. Whatever type of Dharma subject he focused his attention on in particular, he would come to be wonderfully familiar with it. Through having stable mastery of being able to remember things perfectly, whatever he heard and studied with his focused attention, he was able to firmly recollect. When he taught, he could open up the meanings of the tantras. When he meditated, he would unerringly gain experience, piercing the key points of the subtle winds. He taught, "Now you must rest, staring directly at the true nature of your own fresh, immediate awareness." He was a hidden yogi of Mahamudra and Dzogchen who remained within the yoga of continuous meditation. His other name that everyone called him was Drongpa Gyalpo. He did not rely upon contrived forms of respect, prostrations, requesting the Dharma, and so forth in relation to profound teachers just to be agreeable. He fully accomplished the special Dharma of being taken under the care of the Kagyu gurus. For example, at all times he never separated from the recitations and meditations of the generation and completion stage practices. He saw his root guru as the Buddha himself, and he prayed with such devotion to never be separate from him. He would have experiences where longing melodious songs would spontaneously arise when he thought of his guru. With mindfulness, he recollected his sublime qualified teachers and their teachings on impermanence again and again. Through the power of undistracted mindfulness, he was able to bring all the inner experiences of everything good or bad under control. Various outer experiences, whether high or low, he subdued through great compassion and skillful means. This is who Rinpoche was. Phagmo Drupa, the emanation of the Buddha Krakuchanda, taught, "Alas, everything compounded is impermanent. Everything has the reality of birth and destruction. From birth, destruction is occurring. Therefore, complete pacification is happiness. Through the appearances of the enlightened activities of the Rupakayas in this world, Gyalpo Rinpoche displayed passing on. Likewise, in the story of the master Phagmo Drupa gave away all his possessions on the 20th day of the month before his parinirvana. Just like that, before he passed on, Gyalpo Rinpoche gave the instruction to give his individual Dharma students every last remaining thing he owned. To look at this further, the fully complete master of the teachings, Kunu Lama, taught, "This is even more marvelous than what is marvelous." Incredibly marvelous life stories of Kagyu Lamas like this are rare these days, so I have let it merge with my mind. On the activities of the three secrets of Gyalpo Rinpoche's body, speech, and mind, Lobongtrul Tenzin Nyima wrote in a biography of this sublime master, "Even though others are diligent with scriptural traditions their whole lives, when it comes to practice, they have very little in hand. Even though others might carry on teaching for a whole lifetime, they leave understanding behind and don't strike the key point in their own minds even a little. Even though others know about the prescriptions for what to adopt and discard, they wander carelessly in their daily activities. Even though some might work solely to help others, their benefit and activities do not expand any further. On the other hand, not acting in those ways, there are those who know the sutras, tantras, and fields of knowledge. They accomplish the rituals together with the enlightened activities. They have the pith instructions together with tradition. They help wandering beings with their enlightened activities. They are powerful masters of enlightened qualities that are independent of everything else. These are the qualities that are at the heart of the life story of the sublime Gyalpo Rinpoche. Furthermore, there is the universally known saying that Dharma practitioners will know the day when they are going to pass on from this life. This Supreme Protector exclusively manifested that type of passing. Then, in terms of the special signs that he directly displayed, his mouth did not drool with the saliva of foul medicines, and his lower seat did not have any foul odor at all. Through recognizing his own true nature, like the sky that is completely free from clouds, his appearance was clear and radiant. Through deciding upon the one key point, like a king accomplishing great benefit, he was liberated from the narrow pathways of hope and fear. Through being liberated with confidence, like attaining the power of the kingdom of a Chakravartin king, he had a resplendent, joyous smile. The second Nagarjuna, Jigten Sumgon, said, "My reincarnation will be the enlightened mind, bodhicitta." Gyalpo Rinpoche said the very same thing as his last words, and then displayed the way of gathering his enlightened form body into the ultimate expanse. The current regent of the second Nagarjuna, the Supreme 37th, Drikung Kyabgon Konchog Tenzin, Kunsang Thrinle Lhundrup, sent out the following message everywhere. Reaching the perfection of both his lifespan and activities, dwelling in the state of evenly resting in thugdom, he dissolved his enlightened mind into the expanse of reality. What an incredible Dharma practitioner! He too is the resplendent glory of the victorious Drikungpa. Therefore here, all his teachings necessary for the benefit of others have been gathered together into this single collection. Out of all the activities performed by the victorious ones and their children, their activities of speech are the ones that are mainly taught. As for how this sublime speech is, it is taught in reciting the names of Manjushri. His resounding Brahma-like speech filled the entire three worlds of the universe. In that way, he didn't just compose solely according to the Dharma or the world, but he composed both, including histories, advice, works on traversing the stages of the path, pith instructions, and so forth. These are like a treasure trove of jewels, fulfilling the wishes of everyone in the three worlds, providing appropriate teachings for beings of both higher and lower capacities. His collected works, which gather everything together, are a precious, wish-fulfilling jewel. To describe how his collected works successively came together in some detail, in 1997, Gyalpo Rinpoche rented a house near the great sacred place of Swayambhunath in the Kingdom of Nepal, where he began his arrangements under favorable conditions. There, with the assistance of myself and Soltrim Lama, we began to input the history of the Drongpa clan, together with some Drikung Kagyu ritual texts. From that time until Rinpoche passed away, I worked on his collection in my spare time. As for how this collection came about, Gyalpo Rinpoche granted two of his personal students, Khenchen Nyima Gyaltsen and myself, a collection of his teachings that included everything gathered together. That collection was taken as the basis for this current collection. However, the master Vasubandhu taught, "Whatever faults there may be are my own." In accord with that, for all the various errors, contradictions, violations, fabricated additions, omissions, and so forth that occur in this publication, I request the forgiveness of all knowledgeable ones. As for how the name of these collected works came about in the year 2013, when asking the Supreme Lo Bong Trul Tenzin Nyima Rinpoche for a name for these fully complete collected works, he replied with, "The treasure trove of jewels, excellent collected teachings of the wise and accomplished Drikung Lamchen Gyalpo Rinpoche." Thus, the name was given and affixed to this collection. As for the special dharma of this collection, what is included are the personal teachings and compositions of Gyalpo Rinpoche, together with the necessary texts to elucidate them. These have not been adulterated by later compilations and compositions of his students. These were arranged according to his own personal instructions. This compilation was not later altered by such and such individuals thinking it would be good to do this, that, and so forth. In 2012, the collection called The Nectar Garland of the Essential Teachings of the Wise and Accomplished Ones of Upper Dokam was published in Tibet by the P. Nying Pe Trun Kang. The publisher requested the contents of Gyalpo Rinpoche's collection, which was provided by Rinpoche, and given to Lobong Trul Tenzin Nyima. Lobong Trul Tenzin Nyima then passed the outline of the contents to the publisher. Therefore, this was taken as an authoritative basis. Within the elaborate catalogues of many of the collected works of different masters, it listed Gyalpo Rinpoche's own collected works as having the outline of 1. Cycle of stories and collections of advice. 2. Cycle of instructions and commentaries. 3. Cycle of poetry and empowerments. 4. Cycle of secret mantra. Rituals. 5. Cycle of sur offerings, severance, auspiciousness, dedications, and aspirations. Thus, the content of Gyalpo Rinpoche's collected works was established according to his own words. Please know, most of the empowerment texts that Gyalpo Rinpoche gathered together and arranged for recitation were not his original compositions. Nonetheless, he edited many of these for clarity and arranged them for consistency within the tradition. During the editing process, I had the opportunity to read through most of the collection personally with Rinpoche. For the cycle of secret mantra ritual texts, some items were edited by Lo Bongtrul Tenzin Nyima and are taken as an authoritative basis. Furthermore, There were some more texts that followed afterwards that needed to be added, and so these were included in this new edition. All of those were edited in their entirety once by Khenchen Nyima Gyaltsen. Then, these all were produced through modern methods in Tibetan Pecha format by the Taiwanese Lawang Lama, the personal student of Gyalpo Rinpoche. Up through the 9th volume, the Supreme Khenchen again looked over and edited everything. After that, I myself then looked over all the volumes and read through them once again to make sure there were no additions, omissions, or errors. The Tibetan Pecha formatting design, the images inside, and the modern software formatting of this collection with the detailed catalog indexing and so forth were all done by Lawang Lama so that this collection of complete volumes could be brought together and published. Still, it is possible that we have not found all of the Dharma compositions of Gyalpo Rinpoche that exist today. In such a case, these may be added in the future. In that way, for the virtuous activity of producing these collected works, those that were the main editors, as well as those who offered help and assistance, gave advice, and so forth are as follows. Working in cooperation to complete this project was Drikung Khenchen Nyima Gyaltsen Lo Bongtrul Tenzin Nyima Rinpoche and Drikung Chenga Rinpoche. These 3 individuals deserve special thanks and unsurpassed appreciation. Those who also cooperated and helped to make this possible include Lopun, Yeshirabgai, Baram Drubla, Tsangsar Karma Paljor, Lama Karma Thrinle, Ridra Hor Paljor, Tana Karma Sherab, Barom Gyaltsen, and Lopun Konchog Chunyi. There is infinite appreciation for them all. By the power of this virtuous merit, may we fully perfect the realization of the glorious Guru's enlightened mind. May all sentient beings equal to space temporarily have perfect happiness, joy, and fresh glorious prosperity. Ultimately, may I and all others, without any exception, fully complete the 2 accumulations. Having purified the 2 obscurations, may we become wonderfully established in blissful liberation. Thus, I pray, in the Tibetan Kingdom year of 2149, 806 years after the perfect Buddha, Kyopa Jigten Sumgon, passed on, in the month of miracles, in the month when virtue is multiplied 100,000 times, on the virtuous 25th day of the lunar month, when the Dakinis gather at Gampopa Vajrayana Buddhist Center in America, in Rinpoche's room called Jampal Osel Kang, Gentle Splendor Luminosity Room. His attendant, Drikung Khenpo Kanchog Tenzin Nyima, wrote this down. May virtue and goodness flourish. We hereby announce to the followers, students, and supporters of Lamchen Gyalpo Rinpoche that the remaining donations obtained at the time of our precious Guru entering parinirvana have been used for printing and publishing his collected works. A total of 1,000 sets have been printed, each set totaling 16 volumes.